Yes, the answer is they all wrote their own epitaphs, except Adam Faith, who's more remembered for his famous last words, which were, Channel 5 is all shit, isn't it? Christ, the crap they put on there, it's a waste of space. Mussolini did write his own epitaph. Have you any idea what it is?
I'm hanging on a lamppost at the corner. Until a certain little lady comes back.
No, it was, here lies one of the most intelligent animals ever to appear on the surface of the earth. And how did the family name live on in politics now?
His granddaughter is an MP or politician in the Italian government.
Alessandra Mussolini is her name. She was described by The Independent as having peroxide blonde hair, a pornographic mouth, startling eye makeup, and just the merest suggestion of a skirt. She sounded like an Italian Anne Widdecombe. Mel Blanc's epitaph?
That's all, folks.
That's all, folks.
That's all, folks. And which characters did he provide the voice for?
Ronald Reagan, he did.
Yeah.
Tweety Pie.
George Bush.
Junior.
Pepe Le Pew, Barney Rubble, Yosemite Sam, and during the 80s he did Gerry Adams and Martin McGuinness. Spike Milligan's epitaph was?
It's in Gaelic.
It is in Gaelic, or Irish, as we call it at home. It is... we don't know why you call it Gaelic. It's Dúirt mé leat go raibh mé bróite.
It's not as catchy, though, is it?
Well, I think it is. The answer is they all wrote their own epitaph, except for Adam Faith, whose last words don't appear in his gravestone. In 1945, Mussolini's body was strung up in front of a petrol station in Milan and later buried beneath the words, "Here lies one of the most intelligent animals ever to appear on the surface of the earth," which was an improvement on diesel, 39 pence a litre. Mussolini's granddaughter, Alessandra, is still a force in Italian politics. According to The Independent, there is no reason why a politician should not look like a porn star. Which is good news for Robert Kilroy Silk. Paul and Clive, your 4 are a mountain bike, a pretzel, a Segway, and Barney the dog.
I think these are all obstacles that George Bush has encountered at one point in his life. He did fall off a bike last weekend, didn't he?
He did indeed.
And, of course, he did famously choke on a pretzel. He couldn't understand. It wasn't round, it wasn't square. It's a mixture between the two. He must have choked on the dog. He must have... The Segway's the odd one out, 'cause he's never been photographed with that, so he must have been brought to his knees by the other 3 objects.
You're very, very close, but it's not the right answer, I'm afraid.
Ah.
He's fallen off all of the 3 of them except the pretzel, which he choked on.
He didn't fall off the dog. The dog's the only one out, then.
OK, the answers have all been the cause of an injury to George Bush, whereas George has been the cause of an injury to Barney the dog.
Ah. He thought he was a whoopee dog, and he sat on it, expecting the usual noise, but it didn't whoopee.
In September last year, Bush dropped Barney head first onto the hot Texan tarmac as he boarded Air Force One.
Was he taking it as hand luggage?
How did the Segway injure the president?
Did he try it out?
Yes.
But,
he did outside.
Photo op.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, there was photo op.
Anything remarkable about falling off a Segway?
It's meant to be a non-falling-off machine. Almost impossible to fall off it.
Unless you're an idiot.
Yes. Its creator, Dean Kamen, claims it's almost impossible to do so because there's a gyroscope in the actual machine.
Yeah.
Why did Bush manage to do it?
He's an idiot. He's got an anti-gyroscope in his brain.
No, he didn't turn it on. The answer is they have all been the cause of an injury to George Bush, except for Barney the dog. This week, George Bush fell off his mountain bike at his Texas ranch, grazing his face and hands. When aides told him his only problem was a few abrasions, the president instantly replied, "OK, let's bomb abrasion." Since its invention, the Segway has received a number of top-level endorsements. The Wall Street Journal said, "The Segway is great fun to ride." Fortune magazine said, "The Segway is incredibly stable." And George Bush said, which means at the end of this round, it's Ian and Julie on 5 points, Paul and Clive on 10. And so we move to the missing words round, featuring this week's guest publication, Call Centre Europe, for UK call centre professionals. Price, 65 rupees. You're on with Poiwar erupts after what?
Bun fight.
After Joan Bakewell and Donna Tartt have argument at party about Sam Shepard.
No, the answer is Bully Boy Tactics. This is the famous pork pie making town of Melton Mowbray, which is trying to stop pork pies made in other parts of the country from carrying its name. The move is opposed by a major food firm formerly run by one of Tony Blair's top advisors, Labour peer Chris Haskins. He told one meeting, after Melton Mowbray pork pies, what's next? Cornish pasties, Yorkshire puddings, Cumberland sausages and Bakewell tarts. To which John Prescott replied, oh, go on then, you've twisted my arm. Next, what optional on Super Plus headset?
Politeness.
Head.
Speaking English.
The answer is leatherette ear cushions. Next. What sucked up by Hoover?
Lonely Bachelor.
The answer is...
Damn.
Damn sucked up by Hoover. Damn, comma, sucked up by Hoover. The answer is Houdini hamster. This is Rusher the hamster who has accidentally sucked up his owner's vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, right.
A vacuum cleaner and a hamster. Two casualty department legends for the price of one. Next, gondoliers accused of what?
Spreading Venetian disease.
Gondoliers accused of being silly punts.
They damaged their own gondolas. They've cut the prows off, a lot of them.
Absolutely. How would you describe such an act?
Vandalism.
Sacrilege.
Barbarism.
Barbarism.
Gondolas are now being adapted to fit under the bridges of Venice because global warming has raised water levels. More worryingly, it's also melted the cornettos. And finally, Dave Hill has his what moment?
This must be a Joe Moore moment.
It is absolutely right. The answer is
Unheard
Joe
of.
Moore. It's exactly Joe Moore moment. Tony Blair's new spin doctor Dave Hill, who caused outrage by suggesting the collapse of the roof of a Paris airport was a good chance to undermine the French Olympic bid. David Hill insisted it was a flippant aside that was not designed to be serious or to cause offence. Nice use of the Ron Atkinson defence there. So the final score at the end of the show, Ian and Julie have 7 points, but the winners are Paul and Clive with 13. On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Julia Hartley-Brewer, Paul Merton and Clive James. And I leave you with news that at Westminster, Tony Blair denies he has any plans to scale down the fire service. In Newcastle, Labour launched their election campaign with the slogan, Britain is working. And as filming begins on the new series of Doctor Who, early indications suggest the costume designs will exceed all expectations. Good night.